Hello YouTubers, welcome to my channel Try It Yourself. Today's project, replacing front brakes, front rotors and front hubs on a Ford Transit 2020. And I will show you how I did it, but if you're gonna do it perfectly by Ford specs, I'm gonna leave in the description all of the torques and how you're supposed to check everything. But basically it's gonna be, I ran into a problem. Maybe it will be useful for some of you when this vehicle, somebody else was working on this van, and for those of you that are on my channel, you know that this is revealed title. So somebody used the wrong bolts, used too much, Loctite, and it created a problem. So before I'm gonna remove the brake pads, make sure push it in when everything is installed, so caliper is retracted all the way. Trying to loosen up those pins. Loosen up the pin, slide it up like this. The sensor, by the way, is located only on the driver's side, on the inner pad, so you're gonna have to check passenger side from time to time, because see, this one just right here, just in time for replacement, but you wouldn't know if it's still good or not on the passenger side. This is 15 millimeters, by the way, top and bottom, and as you can see, I was unable to loosen up the top one, and technically I maybe will be able to work around it. Next step is bracket, and this is 21 millimeter socket. Caliper you can hang right here on the spring, just like that, out of the way. Now next part is tricky. You're supposed to line up. There is a bolt that holding the hub to the knuckle. You're supposed to go through these holes, line up with this Torx 50 bolt. In my case, But again, for those of you that on my channel long enough, you know that this is a rebuilt vehicle, and looks like the guys who rebuilt it, they replaced the hubs, they put the Allen wrench 8 millimeters. That's gonna be this one. And in my hope shop, I didn't have powerful enough gun to take it out. There's 5 bolts. I took out only 2 out of 5. So hopefully with this heavier guns over here in my friend's shop, I will be able to remove it. But keep in mind, before you just check on the instructions and go with the Torx 50, in my case, it's an 8 millimeter Allen wrench. And again, you have to go through the hole, so the bit has to be minimum 2 1/4 inch long, or ideally 2 1/2. See? So that's the 2 bolts that I was able to remove it. And then we'll go to the hard part. Yeah, so this is stronger gun. I got 3. Or try to go back and forth if it's locked. And I have the most stubborn one. Heat up a little bit with a torch. Let's see.
Hey, I removed the tire, checked all the holes, there's nothing. Your lobster was loose, so that's...
So the only thing that actually resolved the problem is torch. I had to heat it up, otherwise it just wouldn't budge. But the problem is, whoever used this aftermarket bolts or whatever this thing is, I don't know if they came with the Loctite like this or whatever, but that's the last bolt that this Allen wrench almost start already rocking a little bit inside this thing. So the only thing that actually loosened up, just I had to heat up from inside. Luckily it was the bolt that I could get fairly good access. But man, that's what happened when you don't go to the dealership or don't use the OEM parts and maybe save, I don't know how many, $5–10, and you just spend hours. I work on this thing on Saturday, half of the day, gave up. Today's Monday. I already spent on this bolt probably 2 hours on one bolt only. So make good decisions, guys. So now I need to remove this, and I'm replacing the rotor, so I can do this. In your case, I'm not sure. Just to compare, this is the bolt that I had. Check out how much Loctite on this thread. This is the bolt that's Ford OEM. Nothing on this side, just one little spot. Enough for this bolt not to get loose on the road. And this is just madness, you know, so keep that in mind if you're do-it-yourselfer like I am. But that's the risk you're taking when you're buying pre-owned vehicle, and especially they've been in a wreck and somebody did some kind of repair. Another thing, check out, see, one bolt is missing. So I mean technically 4 bolts is still holding this thing, but yeah, there you go. I don't know what happened, because it didn't snap, it just missed, and you could see the hole all the way through. So next step is actually removing this 4 bolts. If it's a complete vehicle, 5 bolts. And anyway, Ford recommends to replace bolts every time, and you can see why. That's another thing. OEM bolts are actually 12 millimeters. This one installed here, it's 13. Just like that. We're gonna compare. Looks almost the same. Yeah, it's 13 instead of 12. Да. So now we're just retracing our steps. So next step, make sure you line up this hole with the hole in the hub on this side. So now when you tighten these bolts, you make sure you go across from each one. Don't go around because it could pinch inside the knuckle. So make sure slowly go across. Okay, now we're gonna mount the brakes back in here. Start it up. Okay, now just lift up the caliper, not the caliper, yeah, the caliper on the bracket, just like that. Just like that, and last touch.
Oh, sorry, buddy. Get the roof.
And the very last touch, we're gonna put the sensor back on. It goes on the inside brake pad with this pointy part against the rotor. Push, will click, just like that, and we're done. We can put the tire back on. And before you put the tire back on, make sure you use the brake cleaner to wash all of this. Stuff. I usually don't go with the impact all the way, because if you have a steel rims, it's just gonna go and go until you're gonna bend it. So I go on a lowest setting, and then I trust my hands more.